Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Trade the Chain. I am joined with Trade the Chain's Director of Research, Nick Mancini, and Doug, the Everyday Guy, DeRosa. It's September 12th. We're almost halfway through the month already. I mean, we've gone through summer. We're halfway through September. I think the older you get, the quicker the years go by. Are you finding that out, Nick? Are you scared of 30?
I'm close to 30, and yeah, the days are somehow longer and move faster at the same time. So I don't know. Nobody prepared me for the twilight zone that is the late 20s, but
Oh my gosh! Well, folks, I know you guys saw the title today. We're going to hit that up after we get past the markets. We have a big day for Voyager tomorrow, so we'll discuss that for a little bit. We also have one of the biggest weeks. We were talking before the show, and I have to agree with Nick. I mean, this is probably one of the most important weeks going into the end of the year for crypto. He's going to break that down for us as well. And also, if you've been listening to us, going through this merge has been a little an emotional challenge of price. So I know a lot of folks are looking for some direction and where that's going to go, and we're gonna break that down for you too as well. And then we'll dip into the economy with Doug and see what's happening for the regular folks out there as far as numbers and money spending and the likes go, particularly with the housing market and how much that correlates in dictation of markets. So before we get to Voyager, Nick, let's send it over to you. I'm going to bring up the charts and take us away. Breakdown. Define everything for everybody. This is such a critical Monday.
Yeah, so the two things, and I probably should have had this up, but I put this in the Trade the Chain community. It's a helpful Google for helped us out, and basically, I typed in Ethereum merge, but the Ethereum merge is scheduled, for 2 days, 11 hours, and 30 minutes from now. So that should be around, late or very early Thursday, like around midnight Eastern, something like that. It's actually been kind of moving up quicker than expected. So the merge is about 2.5 days from now, and that's driving a lot of price action. I thought it was also funny that there's some dancing bears that Google has for the Ethereum merge. I don't know if that's them being coy or what, but one of the big crypto Twitter accounts pointed that out to me after I tweeted it this week. So that was interesting. So this is obviously the big catalyst. The second major catalyst for markets this week is CPI. If you've been listening to us for a while, I've been kind of banging the drum that inflation has more or less peaked and we're kind of on the other side of that hump. That's not to say that, we could not rise further, but based on how things are looking, the expectation is for CPI to come in lower than the previous month. Cores should be hovering right around the same. That's minus energy and food, I believe. We can debate, inflation metrics and their validity all day long, but the Fed, this is what the Fed is using, and the Fed is obviously in control of how we're interpreting the market. So if CPI comes in lower than expected or meets expectations, it should bring bullishness with it. And that's kind of what the market seems to almost be front running right now. So let's look at equities really quickly. I did say earlier in the Trade the Chain community that if we could flip for 40.90 this morning, then 4,200 was definitely in play. We flipped 42.90. We're hovering around the 200-day moving average, which if you've been following along, has been a key point of both resistance and support in the market that we look at across many time frames. So a pause here does make sense. Our VWAP is hovering about 4,100 flat. You would hope for the VWAP to hold and then for 4,200 to come into play. And I think that we may see this volatility into tomorrow morning as we anticipate what CPI numbers are going to be. Hopefully, what bulls want to see, and I say hopefully because we would prefer bullishness over bearishness. We tap 4,100, we move to 4,200 on a great CPI print, and then we turn 42 to 4,100 basically into a wider range where we consolidate, build up some more, hopefully bullish anticipation, and then move higher, provided that inflation, continues to move in the direction that we would prefer. Last week, we mentioned some bullishness for crypto in expectation of A, the merge, and B, CPI. Crypto has moved very much in line with with equities, but obviously much more extreme considering our conversation about crypto having a high beta compared to equities. So Bitcoin is, I believe, I want to say close to 20%. Yeah, 18% off of its lows from early September. It has also beaten back the ETH Bitcoin chart. So people were very, very bullish on Ethereum, which we called out last week as not being the case we expected. Ethereum versus Bitcoin has obviously careened down. It was a fantastic trade if you listen to us, longing Ethereum, longing Bitcoin, Ethereum. As you can see from the Bitcoin chart, my apologies there. As you can see from the Bitcoin chart, Bitcoin continued cranking over the weekend. Ethereum pretty much did the opposite. So if you would have longed Bitcoin and shorted Ethereum when I would have told you, you would have been correct on both sides of the trade. And that is pretty much the exact reason why you joined the Trade the Chain community. If you were not in there, you may not have been privy to that opportunity, considering the boost that already occurred. You would have been able to make money in both directions and have a very hedged trade. Sorry if you didn't make out on that. Please sign up for Trade the Chain. So as for Ethereum going into the merge, we know that Bitcoin is looking stronger. I'm not discounting Bitcoin until we probably hit 23.5, 24, maybe 25K on that inflation print. There's no reason to be bearish just yet, although we could see some more consolidation into the morning tomorrow, just like I predicted for the equities chart. But given Bitcoin's strength, I'm not fading this just yet. Based on the merge play, we did say that it would start selling off on Sunday or Monday. Well, today is the 12th, and the peak was Sunday. So if you listen to us again on that, then you would not have been longing Bitcoin or Ethereum for the past 48 hours. You would have been very happy with yourself. So Ethereum is sitting in this range. I would expect some maybe ping pong price action. But I'm not really bullish on Ethereum heading into the merge, considering, just like I said last week, as soon as the merge becomes tangible is when people will begin risking off. And I do believe that Bitcoin is likely to pick up the slack because all of that money trading Ethereum is not going to just sit on the sidelines. If there is a bullish perception in the market, that money is going to get put to work. Where is that money going to work? Well, obviously Bitcoin, but we can see here other L1s are taking up some of the prowess that Ethereum was running, and have had fantastic boosts. Near, shout out Doug, is up 20% from its lows a week ago. Solana is very similar, 17-18%, and so are similar assets that we've called out on the coins on the move. So in my opinion, as long as equities continue moving higher and can consolidate above the volume weighted average price, Bitcoin should head higher into CPI, into the merge. Ethereum should continue to be volatile. Should the merge be successful, I'm expecting a huge boost for Ethereum, followed by likely a quick sell-off and some serious volatility. And then if you're bullish on Bitcoin, you probably should be bullish on L1s during the merge as well, because like I said, that money is not going to just sit. That money is going to be put to work. So that's pretty much how I'm looking at things. We've been spot on for the past 2-3 weeks in relation to all of these trades. I'm not expecting us to be wrong, although anything is possible. But the way the merge is playing out, playing in a very bullish fashion, regardless of the merge narrative itself, we've mentioned many times that the crypto is just moving in a high beta fashion compared to the S&P 500. That both of those are the case. So take your narrative and run with it. But things don't seem to be coming off of the highs anytime soon, unless CPI is not as we expect.
Yeah, and CPI is going to be a main catalyst one way or the other here. So it's the important number to keep a lookout for when we get that announcement. A couple of things I do want to just remind everybody. If you haven't visited our Twitter Spaces every Thursday, this week we have a really interesting one. Well, last week we had a really interesting one too. We have another interesting one this week with Avalanche Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. So definitely take a look at that. And I'm just going to mention the newsletter again because it came up with what Nick said, giving Doug some kudos. First of all, it's a pinned chat in the live chat. It's free. You should sign up for it because one of the things that he was mentioning was NEAR, and NEAR is something we started speaking about on the Thursday Coins on the Move page and writing commentary on that for. Between that and also Chili's, we've had some really good coins shining out. So it's been good. The whole reason about it is, there's no reason not to make money in the bear market, and that's one of the things that we try to discuss as much as possible. Another thing, we tweeted it out earlier today, which was it was Loom Network, and if you had taken a look at Loom Network on the Trade the Chain dashboard, you would see that one, it was unbelievable. I mean, sentiment started rising a solid 10 to 12 hours before moving up, really like significantly. We had members that went into that trade, returned over 150% on Loom Network, and it is one of the great price appreciators of the weekend. So, congrats to all the folks who did that. Real quickly, going to the broader markets here. We are still just hovering above the $1 trillion market cap number. Obviously, with this morning's squeeze to the downside on Ethereum, taking a lot of wind out of that. But as Nick mentioned, nothing to be really that afraid of for the coming days and weeks. Bitcoin sitting at 22,300, up 3.2% for the 24 hours. If you go down, we got the most bullish coins down here. Sheeb leading the way with a 95 score. Haven't seen that in a while. I know Doug's happy.
Oh, that was a dog. Wow.
I think Doug just did a dog sound.
We have what people don't know about Doug is he's got Shiba Inus busting out of his house.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure he has a Shiba Inu tattoo somewhere.
Well, I have bed sheets. It's a little awkward, but yes, I do.
Novogratz has Luna and Doug has Shib.
We got Decentraland's Mana coming in second at 89. Loom, obviously, what we just talked over at 87. Also, Gollum, keep an eye out for Gollum, GLM. It's up 50% in the past 24 hours. And really sparking some profit making there. So very interesting. It's 50% is a good number. Down, we have Tezos leading the way on the downside for the most bearish on daily sentiment, XTZ there. We also have CRV curve there. And XMR. So a few of the mixes in there. One of the things I did want to bring up also today was the fact that don't worry, folks, the three of us will discuss Voyager soon. But one of the things I did want to bring up was Cream Finance, and I couldn't confirm this outside with a really credible source. But allegedly, there's been a 1.75 million exploit on Cream Finance with a flash loan. We heard about doing the flash loan gig a couple of years ago with DeFi, right after DeFi summer. And it looks like some guys came back, or ladies, no reason both can't be experts in hacking, and hit up Cream Finance. So Cream's a pretty big protocol. We'll see if that turns out to be legit. Also, real quick, the contagion from 3AC continues. Algorand declares $35 million exposure to HODLer. which was the lender that ran into trouble at the end of, or announced it at least at the end of last month. But also, what we're finding out from this article is that Moonbeam and Kyber Network also owed $27 million by Three Arrows Capital. So it looks like it has touched protocols as well, and swap players. So it just never ends. But I'm sure we'll find that out for months and months to come. Doug, hit us up with the economy. How are things going, particularly down there in South Florida, where the cars are expensive and the weather is warm?
And the people are shady. Going back, yes, it's a sunny place for shady people. Going back to what you just had, there was a banner ad for Near Protocol, which kind of ties into housing that we discussed. It was at the top of that page. I don't know if it's, there it is.
NearCon.
Right. So markets need catalysts. So why we selected Near in Coins on the Move, as well as Chili's, is they both had positive catalysts behind them. So Near has their NearCon conference, which you just had the banner ad. And coming out of East Denver, they had launched their Pagoda offering, which was kind of an easy way for Web3 developers to launch dApps. And so going to housing, what is our catalyst for housing, as well as obviously the general markets, has been interest rate environment. And obviously that's challenging. I know everybody wants to talk about Voyager, but just a quick thing, which was fascinating today, that Alex and I get emails from the fine folks at Robinhood. They come out with their snacks every Monday. And the title of their email was called Housing's Sad Paradox. So you had this housing narrative that was just nothing but positive, right, for the last 10 years. And now you're starting to get hit with stuff like this. And it was interesting that I've read that it was nearly 3 in 4 home buyers recently have had one regret with their home purchase. And so people are sad with the housing market because it's saying people can't buy a house, or they're sad because they did buy a house.
Yeah.
So that narrative now is really starting to flip. And again, how does that affect cryptocurrencies? Because it's the wealth effect. Again, if you feel good with your job, if you feel good with the economy, with your housing purchases, you're probably going to speculate or invest in some cryptocurrencies. If it's a risk-off environment, and again, you don't feel good about things, and you don't feel good about your house, you're losing equity, you're probably not going to do that. So it all kind of ties in together. But yeah, the housing market has certainly flipped. And now we're getting emails like that from Robinhood saying, wow, housing is sad. So crazy times in housing.
Yeah, not good at all. All right. Let's go over to Voyager. Most people know myself, a couple of others on Twitter and around are involved in this trade, and it's interesting because going back to the Near conversation, as well as Nick with the Ethereum merge conversation, a lot of the trades that we've been going into have been boiling around events. So it's very much event-driven trading that we've been profiting at. What's coming up, what's happening, what's newsworthy, much more so than fundamentals, right? So obviously, if we take a look at Voyager a year and a half ago, those investments were made basically on fundamentals or majority on fundamentals. And now the trade is being made on event-driven news. So, last Tuesday, we had the qualified bidders submit their bids. And we traded into that. And obviously, you could see from the chart that trade was a good trade. There was a lot of hopium behind it. There was a lot of Asia. The majority, by the way, if you take a look at the last 2 weeks of trading, the majority of inflows into Voyager have been Asia-based, right? And there's a whole set of conspiracy theories that could be set around that, which is, is CZ buying VGX up himself so he can pay for the company without, for free. Who knows? But I will tell you, myself and a few others have been waking up at 1 o'clock in the morning Eastern and trading the hourlies all the way into 4 or 5 o'clock, because that's what the Asia desks have been doing. So we've been averaging, we've been selling and averaging down our cost basis by picking more up. Tomorrow is a big event because tomorrow they announce basically who the leading bidder is, and the leading bidder tomorrow will set the base price for the auction. So let's say XYZ company comes in with $3, but XYZ2 comes in with $5. Well, they take the $5 and now they go back to all the companies and they tell them, listen, here's the floor. You got to go over it. There's going to be a combination of both price and quality from what my understanding is, and also what makes sense in this process. And that's going to be who has the highest price, but with the best deal. We have this UCC committee that's for the creditors, and they're basically analyzing. Their job is to analyze and ask questions. I don't know if they're any good or not. I'm assuming I'm not an expert in this. I'm assuming they're accompanied by attorneys. They know their job. They ask the hard questions, but their job is to, I guess, basically select what the best price and the best value for Voyager and its stakeholders and customers are moving forward. So, what are some possible scenarios? There's a lot we don't know. We know FTX, right? Because FTX basically ran a PR stunt in July. We know about Binance because that was very nicely leaked the other week. But there's a whole bunch we don't know. And are we talking about traditional finance guys? Are we talking about what's been reported in the news, such as the E-Trades or the Schwabs of the world? Are we talking about European banks? That in TradFi? What are some of the outcomes? And I know there's a lot of people here that are talking about VGX and the token itself. And what does that outcome look like? Well, I mean, from my opinion, and Nick and Doug and anybody in the audience can chime in saying I'm wrong, is that if we get an operator, let's say we have a European bank in TradFi, and they want to enter the crypto business, and they want a turnkey solution, because that's really what Voyager would work best at, is a turnkey solution. Then VGX has a very great chance of value appreciation and rolling along with VLP 2.0 and what it was originally designed for, to incentivize and reward customers. Obviously not at the same levels. There's going to be some adjustments, but that's a very likely scenario. Well, what happens if we get a U.S. brokerage house that does it? I don't know. That's a very gray area. Are they going to take that on as far as having a token? Are they going to just want to have the app to add into their infrastructure to expand the crypto? That's a really gray area, because they're the closest with the regulators. So there's going to be a lot of rule following that comes in with those decisions. Now, what happens if somebody like Binance or FTX, takes this over? Well, I would probably suspect that might be the least use case for the VGX token. Okay, and the reason being is, one, they're going to be for the American exchange arms of those two. Now, Binance US and FTX US are completely separate entities from FTX and Binance Global. As a matter of fact, it's almost like a franchise deal, okay? And the reason it's kept at arm's length is because of regulation. So when you look at Binance US, it's almost like you go to a Kentucky Fried Chicken, and then next door there's a fake-looking Kentucky Fried Chicken. They're supposed to serve fried chicken, but one just isn't the other. And that's kind of where Binance US and FTX US are. They're very low volume customers, exchanges in the US. They're entities that were set up in order to start going down the regulation road. Do they take VGX? I don't know. Do they incorporate FTT and BNB? I don't know. It's a 50-50 shot. I think a lot of people have now. I have a hankering for KFC. I think a lot of people are really hoping. I hope there's a lot more light that can be shed on the situation. Whether you own $1,000 of VGX or $100,000 of VGX, it's worth every penny to each person in their own situation. I'm trying to follow this closely. I speak a lot about it with friends and colleagues on the phone each day. You know, we all sit around, hypothesize around campfires on what's going to happen. What I think is good is the way this has been going. This process has been going really, really well. I mean, Doug, what do you think as far as how the bankruptcy process has been going? This is the quickest I've ever seen one of these done.
I guess I'll throw back my comment to a question to you. Of the ones you just mentioned, I mean, Wells has been thrown around. Obviously, Fidelity has a deep blockchain bench. Who benefits here? A company that doesn't have any footprint at all in crypto that would like to get a token, or one already that has a token? Because that, to me, would determine where this goes afterwards, right? If it is a TradFi company like a Wells, and Wells is like, what are we going to do with a VGX token? We don't need this. Because I just want to clarify something, because there's three customers of Voyager, right? There's people that have just crypto, there's people that have crypto and VGX, and then there's people that have just VGX, right? So you have three distinct customers there. So obviously, it's very important answer and question to understand, right? To say, alrighty, who the pool of potential suitors, and then where does it make sense for those people? Because you might have two of the three customers actually being affected adversely.
I agree. First of all, let me just start with Wells Fargo. Okay. I did see that they had made a filing. I'm not sure in what capacity they had made a filing. All I got to say is that Wells Fargo better not even get near this, near Voyager. Okay. Absolutely. The worst outcome for anybody is Voyager gets acquired by Wells Fargo. They are so, they will ruin the business, just like they've ruined just about every business they've touched. Prime brokerage, equities. They can't do international swaps still, and they're a top 5 U.S. bank. I mean, I could go on, but then I'll probably get sued by Wells or something. You're absolutely right. You want to know something? I think it would be think of a European bank who's not into crypto, and they want a turnkey solution to enter the market, right? Because there's already European regulatory entities for approval here. They can do that. I think this is a great storyline for them. I think it's also one of the most. I think it's one of the most cleanest ways for VGX as a token for the ecosystem to keep moving forward. That would probably be my number one bet. It's somebody we've never even heard of, right? Some bank out of Liechtenstein, Germany, I don't know, whatever country over there. They buy this, they get into crypto, they understand the value of VGX and the incentives to 300,000 accounts that hold VGX in their wallets there at the exchange, and the value and loyalty of the customers who helped place a lot of value on the token. So that would probably be my favorite bet. My second favorite bet would be a crypto exchange that exists already. My third and last one would be U.S. Bank. Oh gosh, oh boy. But that's that. Now, where are we going with this trade? If any of you in trade, or any of you just been paying attention, going along with watching us talk about it, I will be up for the next 24 hours. I mean, the most important parts of this trade have come when Eastern time zone has been sleeping. I look for the action to really erupt. If there's going to be any action, now I'm not saying there's going to be, but if there was to be action between the 1 o'clock and the 5 o'clock hours, okay, in the AM Eastern time, the last 24 hours, there's been no volume. I mean, the volume's been extremely low. So I'm looking for Asia to come back in and do their thing, trading into the news on the announcement. Is there a third leg to this trade? There is a third leg to this trade. I think it involves a little more exposure to the market, and that'll be the time between the 13th tomorrow and the 29th of September when the winner is selected. That's a long time frame to stay in this trade, but that would be the ultimate third leg. If you've already gone through leg one, leg two is successful. Me personally, almost like a cut your winnings type thing. So, what do you think, Nick? Are you looking at Pudgy Penguins right now?
No, I really don't have any opinion on VGX personally. I haven't been tracking the trade. It's not my style of trading. So I'll leave that completely up to you guys.
Sounds good. Yaman, we're not going to tell you whether to sell or not. You got to do you, brother. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in today. We appreciate it. Don't forget we have Avalanche on our Trade the Chain Twitter Spaces on Thursday. Don't forget Nick's Daily Show, midday on Eastern Time. Solid 15 minutes to listen to. We will see you again tomorrow. Let's keep an eye on the merge. Let's see, stick to Twitter and let's see for some updates. So thanks, folks. We'll see you tomorrow.